Have you ever wondered, who was the very first dog? Not your dog, not my dog, not even the hundreds of breeds we see today, but the very first canine that crossed the invisible line between wild wolf and loyal companion. It's one of the greatest mysteries in human history, because the first dog wasn't just an animal, it was a revolution, a creature that rewrote the story of survival, of friendship, and even of civilization itself. So today, we're going back tens of thousands of years, back before farms, before writing, before civilization, to a time when humans huddled around fires, shadows stretching in the dark, and somewhere, on the edge of that firelight, a pair of glowing wolf eyes watched, and from that moment, everything changed. This is the story of the world's first dog. Let's start with the basics. Dogs didn't magically appear. Every Chihuahua, Great Dane, Husky, and Golden Retriever alive today all trace back to wolves. But wolves and humans weren't exactly friends. Imagine being a hunter-gatherer 30,000 years ago. You're carrying a stone-tipped spear, chasing mammoths, and every night you're just hoping to survive the freezing cold. Meanwhile, wolves were the apex predators of the Ice Age, stronger than you, faster than you, better hunters than you. And trust me, you did not want to run into a hungry wolf pack at night. So how did this predator become our partner? Most scientists believe it started with curiosity and scraps. Wolves are opportunists. If early humans left bones or food around their camps, the bolder wolves crept closer to scavenge. The aggressive ones got chased away or worse. But the calmer wolves, the ones that didn't growl, didn't bite, they got to eat. Generation after generation, those calmer wolves grew friendlier, and slowly, they started living in the shadows of human tribes. Not quite pets, not quite wild, something in between. And here's where the magic happened. Humans realized these animals were more than freeloaders. They could bark alarms when predators came. They could sniff out danger. They could even help track prey. One night a wolf lies down near a human fire. The next, humanity has just gained the greatest ally it would ever know. So picture this. Ice Age Europe. Dense forests, frozen rivers, small bands of humans moving from camp to camp, and alongside them the very first proto-dogs. They weren't cute fluffy pets yet. These were half-wild animals with shaggy fur, glowing eyes, and a predator's instincts. But they'd chosen us and we'd chosen them. Think of the benefits. When humans went hunting, these animals helped corner prey. At night they kept watch, and when food was scarce, humans and proto-dogs even shared scraps to stay alive. It wasn't just survival, it was partnership. Over time, wolves that were friendlier, smaller, and less aggressive had better chances of survival near humans. That's natural selection at work. And little by little, the wolf became the dog. This partnership didn't just help humans survive, it changed our destiny, because with dogs, humans could expand into harsher lands, hunt bigger prey, and fend off greater dangers in a way. The first dog might have been humanity's first technology upgrade. Now, you might be asking, how do we know all this? Well, archaeologists have found some mind-blowing evidence. One of the oldest known dog burials comes from Bonneberg-Cassel, Germany, a site dating back around 14,200 years. There, a dog was buried right alongside two humans, carefully laid to rest. Not eaten, not discarded, buried like family. That tells us something powerful. By this time, dogs weren't just useful tools, they were companions, loved enough to be honored in death. But the story goes even deeper. In Siberia, a site called Razboynica Cave revealed the remains of what looks like a domesticated dog over 30,000 years old. That's way before farming, before villages, back when survival was a daily gamble. So these creatures didn't just come along after civilization. They were with us before civilization even began. That means the world's first dog might have been humanity's first true friend. Now here's where things get epic. With dogs by our side, humans gained advantages no other species had. Hunting became more efficient. Imagine trying to chase down a deer on foot, it's nearly impossible, but with dogs driving prey into traps or ambushes, suddenly, humans had the edge. Protection improved too. A sleeping tribe could rest easier knowing that canine sentinels would bark at the first sign of danger, whether it was a bear, a rival tribe, or something lurking in the dark. And then came farming. Once humans settled into villages, dogs took on new roles, guarding livestock, herding sheep and goats, clearing pests. Dogs became workers, guardians, and companions, and in return, they thrived. It's no exaggeration to say, without dogs, human history would look completely different. But dogs weren't just practical, they became sacred. In ancient Egypt, dogs were associated with Anubis, the jackal-headed god of the afterlife. Egyptians believed dogs guided souls safely to the other side. In Norse mythology, dogs were guardians of the underworld. In Native American traditions, they were spiritual protectors, guides, and even teachers. Every culture that lived alongside dogs didn't just see them as animals, they saw them as something otherworldly, something more. And maybe that's because they were. So, let's get a bit scientific. When wolves became dogs, their very DNA shifted. Genes affecting aggression, digestion, even appearance changed. Their skulls got smaller, their teeth less sharp, their ears began to flop. But the biggest change, behavior. Dogs developed what scientists call neoteny. They kept puppy-like traits into adulthood: playfulness, curiosity, dependence on humans. In other words, the first dog didn't just look different, it thought differently. It wanted to be with us. And that psychological shift is what sealed the bond forever. So, who was the first dog? We may never know its exact name, shape, or face. Maybe it was a scruffy wolf-like creature that lingered near a fire in Ice Age Europe. Maybe it was a cave-dwelling companion in Siberia. But what we do know is this: the first dog forever changed the course of human history. It gave us protection. It gave us partnership. It gave us unconditional loyalty long before we even had words for it. And in return, we gave dogs something just as powerful: a place by the fire, and a place in our hearts. From that single bond tens of thousands of years ago came every wagging tail, every loyal gaze, every bark that echoes in the night. The world's first dog wasn't just the beginning of man's best friend. It was the beginning of something bigger, the beginning of us. And that, my friends, is the story of the world's first dog. If you enjoyed this journey back in time, don't forget to hit that like button. Drop a comment sharing what you think the first dog looked like, and subscribe for more deep dives into the origins of history, science, and the mysteries that shaped our world. Because sometimes, the smallest moments in history create the biggest ripples.